Hello everyone, this is part 2 of What If Naruto Changed, and I hope you guys enjoy this video and to like, to subscribe, and check out the playlist, to see more comment down below. Now let's start the intro.
They call me a god. They call me a god. They call me a god.
A few hours after leaving the village, Jiraiya and Naruto were found walking casually towards a small village in order to have some lunch and talk for a while. Suffice to say, Jiraiya wanted to talk with Naruto not only because he wanted to create a suitable schedule for the blonde's training, but also in order to find out as much as possible about the eternal enigma that was Uzumaki Naruto. In their last trip, Jiraiya was practically begging for Naruto to stop screaming from time to time, but now the blonde didn't matter a single word since they left Konoha. Naruto, for his part, chose the quiet time and began to wonder about things a little bit. He often wondered about his life and how it could turn up if he had the decency to apply himself on being a better ninja. Of course, he felt stronger and more capable now, but Naruto couldn't help but think about what would happen if he was better trained. Surely, he would do better in missions and maybe overcome the Uchiha in battle because of it. Naruto was not stupid enough to realize that he just learned 3 advanced jutsus in only a day, therefore it was safe to say he could be already proficient in Fuyuta ninjutsu by now. I surely messed up with my training, no matter though, I'll have 3 years to make up for the lost time and hopefully become strong enough to be of aid to the village, thought Naruto as he looked up only to see that they were approaching a small village. Naruto, why don't we stop here for some lunch? I bet you're hungry, offered Jiraiya, earning a nod from Naruto who appreciated the offer and said that his feet was already hurting from that much walk. Jiraiya couldn't help but laugh upon eyeing his new student's determination. Another aspect of Jiraiya's concern was towards Naruto maybe becoming respectful for a change. He did insist for the blonde to address him with respect, however a part of him wanted to be called Ero Sennin. A few moments later, Naruto and Jiraiya were having some sushi and Jiraiya chose that moment to talk to the blonde. Why Naruto, as you know, we'll have 3 years to spend on your training and I expect that in the end of this 3 years, your level would be somewhat close to Junin, said Jiraiya, earning a look in surprise from Naruto who thought he heard that Jiraiya wanted him to be close to Kakashi's level upon returning. That's right kid, you're already close to Chunin material and as I remembered carefully, you did beat that Neji kid, who was considered the genius of the Hyuga clan and you saved Konoha from the one-tailed beast Shukaku. Now, stop interrupting me and let's get down to business, stated Jiraiya to which Naruto rolled his eyes away, before eyeing the pervert once more. Based on the material I've gathered on your file, your taijutsu is now, after you left the hospital, more refined, so it is considered low-level Chunin, however we'll sure improve this area. Genjutsu, I'm sorry to say your ability is practically none. However I'm sure that learning genjutsu wouldn't suit your fighting style, so we'll focus on learning to interpret the illusion and how to dispel them effectively. Chakra control won't be much of an issue here in our training, since you already completed the tree and water walking, explained Jiraiya, but Naruto stopped him for a second. What about the kunai lifting exercise? I saw that this is the 3rd level of chakra control, asked Naruto, earning a thinking pose from Jiraiya. The kunai lifting exercise, although completely useful, wasn't obligatory for a ninja to complete. This exercise was only completed by those of the Hyuga clan in order to learn the Juken and for medical ninja to be able to learn their techniques. This exercise required a steady flow of chakra to be expelled from the ninja's hands, thus keeping the kunai hovering around. Although it's nice to be able to Naruto, truth is, it isn't a necessary skill to have, especially for someone more suited for taijutsu and ninjutsu such as yourself. If you truly wish to learn, we'll leave it for the end of our training, also if you wish you could attempt on one of our free times. Moving on, ninjutsu and chakra capacity. The latter is rather easy to train since you only need to use a lot of chakra and then wait for your reserves to be fulfilled again. Now ninjutsu, said Jiraiya, before seeing Naruto smile which in turn caused him to smile in return. As you know, ninjutsu are mostly divided between shape and element manipulation with a few exceptions that doesn't rely on them. You already is proficient in shape manipulation from the Rasengan and the Gyorai Shin no Jutsu, Torpedo Needles Jutsu, however we are still due to perfect your Rasengan. Also, we'll be focusing on your Fuyutan element. I happen to know the formula necessary to be able to use Fuyutan chakra and also some techniques that will be easy to teach. I happen to have a friend in Suna that happens to be a Junin. He will teach you 2 to 3 advanced Fuyutin techniques, but the rest will be up to you, explained Jiraiya. Also, it will be up to you to figure out our schedule, he. You'll have to come up with a suitable timetable that will incorporate all of the subjects we talked so far. After hearing that, Naruto was rather angry to say the least. Jiraiya was supposed to be the teacher and yet he was stuck with fixing the training schedule. It was ridiculous. Jiraiya explained that such abilities are vital in the ninja world and would help Naruto greatly while going on more advanced missions or even leading a team. After paying for the meal, Jiraiya left Naruto at the local library in order to think of the schedule, while he would do some researching. Naruto didn't complain, but he knew of the damn pervert's reasons for leaving and wondered if the damn pervert would do this more often in the future. Looking at the blank page for a moment, Naruto decided to settle down everything he needed to place at the schedule and listed down. After finishing it, he proceeded to think. The old Naruto would settle for 3 whole years of bad-ass ninjutsu and cool moves, but now after what he saw in those books, the blonde realized that he needed to pay attention to his other skills. 3 years and 3 abilities to focus on: taijutsu, genjutsu and ninjutsu. Also, ninjutsu would be divided into 3 phases: using the Rasengan with one hand, learning Fuyutin chakra and learning Fuyutin techniques. Taijutsu and genjutsu didn't need a full year, Naruto wondered. Of course, he could learn more advanced stances in probably 6 months and then do some occasional spars with Jiraiya. Also, genjutsu disrupting wouldn't require much time to learn, so maybe he could assert both taijutsu and genjutsu within a full year of training. Well, I guess we could focus on these 2 arts as well as doing some chakra control exercises, thought Naruto as he began scribbling on the paper, the following. First year, 6 months of taijutsu and chakra control exercises, extended periods of running on top of water and maybe even doing occasional spars to increase the pace. Naruto really wanted to learn some new ninjutsu, but then the ones he already knew could need some time mastering it. The Shuriken Kage Bunshin no Jutsu, Shuriken Shadow Clone, was one of them and Naruto always wanted to see a suitable number of Shuriken clones to be created for the technique to be effective. Also, the Gyoraishin no Jutsu, Torpedo Needles Jutsu, could need some work refining its shape and also increasing the number of needles, so he could use the first year perfecting them on his spare time from training. The Bunshin Daibakua, Clone Explosion, only needed more chakra burst, so Naruto didn't need to train that. Scribbling this information, Naruto now initiated the 2nd year schedule. Since he would have practically done with taijutsu and genjutsu, he could focus 2 years with ninjutsu. Sometime in the past, he heard someone telling that he was a ninjutsu type of ninja, because of his unlimited chakra capacity. So, with the proper control and the advanced techniques he was sure to learn, Naruto was practically drooling in anticipation. Nevertheless, he needed, before learning any other jutsu, to use the Rasengan in one hand, so he settled for 3 months exclusively for the Rasengan. After that, Jiraiya would be teaching him how to have access to Fuyutin chakra. However, Naruto was clueless as to how much time it would be required to do this. The part of the book didn't say much about it, so he settled for taking the rest of the year for such a feat. After all, in case he manages to learn before the end of the 2nd year, maybe he could focus on other abilities. Looking at the paper, he turned to scribble once more. 2nd year, 3 first months, Rasengan training in order to be able to create it single-handedly, without the clone's assistance, and 9 months of Fuyutin chakra manifestation training. In case I manage to do it in lesser time, we can focus on learning 1 or 2 Fuyutin techniques and spar on top of the water, using both taijutsu and ninjutsu. Objective: fighting experience and mastery of jutsus in the heat of battle. Of course, the 3rd year would be focused on Fuyutin techniques that Naruto would be learning from both Jiraiya and a man in Suna. So, he scribbled the last year and turned to read it once more in order to see if he didn't miss anything. Naruto was actually satisfied with his schedule. Truth be told, the schedule was a good idea, since it would keep not only him in place but also for his perverted sensei. Leaving the paper on top of the table for a moment, Naruto began to look around a bit. This wasn't a shinobi library, hence why he couldn't pick anything that would interest him. However, they did have some adventure books to read and Naruto knew he would have to wait a while for Jiraiya to arrive. Upon arriving at the respective section, he glanced at the titles and was surprised to see that some of the books involved the shinobi world, even if all of them are fiction. He took a few ranging from Kiri Shinobi's war against pirates to an adventure between two powerful warriors in Iwa battling for the Sushikage position. After picking them, he went to the table he was seating earlier and placed the books on top of the table. Picking the first book, which was actually the one that described Kiri's war against the pirate organization, he opened and started reading. With Jiraiya . After leaving Naruto alone at the library, Jiraiya decided to run into an old friend of his that happened to leave at the village. Actually, the reason Jiraiya stopped by was because this man contacted him a while ago because of some sensitive information about Suna. Jiraiya had informants up there, but couldn't just dismiss information like that, especially because this man wasn't limited to sensitive information and could easily tell more. After a while of walking, he reached a normal two-story white house and knocked on the door. It took some minutes before the door opened, although just a little for the man inside to see who was knocking. "You appear like him, but how do I know you're really him?" asked the shadow, earning a snort from the perv. Really must every informant of his ask that question. True, it was shinobi protocol to be certain of the one in front of him, before opening his mouth. Before one became his informant, Jiraiya would say a secret password that only he could know. "Orochimaru is a pedophile," muttered Jiraiya, earning a nod from the man before he fully opened and greeted the white-haired Sannin. Clearly, Orochimaru has been given many names and curses, but only Jiraiya would call him like that. "Seriously, I think I earned your trust enough so that you shouldn't feel the need to have a double check," said Jiraiya, earning a snicker from the man. "Well, one couldn't help but keep a few vices, besides it's better to be assured than be stabbed in the back. Come in," gestured the man, to which Jiraiya muttered something unyouthful and then entered the house. The inner walls were rather simple, but what could anyone expect from a ninja's retirement home? Naruto Shinji was really an ordinary shinobi. Retiring early because of losing one of his arms while on a mission, he decided to leave the village and settle down in a village where he wouldn't hear the word ninja. However, just as the man said, Shinji became addicted to some of the vices that were exclusive for shinobi, hence why he agreed to be Jiraiya's informant. "So, I believe you have something to tell me, so let's hear it," said Jiraiya, earning a nod from Shinji, who began. "I have news of Suna. Apparently, they took Orochimaru's betrayal pretty heavily and are now restructuring everything. I heard from a Suna ninja that they have plans of formulating a mutual agreement with Konoha in order to exchange knowledge regarding genin training and the Academy of Shinobi Wannabes. Also, there is a rumor of a nomination for the Godime Kazekage, although he couldn't confirm me the nominee's identity," explained Shinji, earning a nod in appreciation from the Sannin. Although it wasn't urgent news, Jiraiya was famous for knowing pretty much everything about everything. He knew of Suna's growing interest in allying once again with Konoha for the famous mutual benefits. The news of the new Kazekage, though, was unexpected since because of the Yondaime Kazekage's death, the council took over everything until a next suitable shinobi becomes nominated for the Godime Kazekage. Jiraiya thanked the man for the information and gladly accepted some tea that Shinji, just now, made. Some occasional talk was exchanged between the two, and when Jiraiya looked at the time, he realized he abandoned Naruto at the library for close to 3 hours now. He explained to Shinji that he was in a hurry to meet someone and appreciated the hospitality. After leaving the house, he took a few minutes to arrive at the library, already wondering how much of a headache he will have from hearing Naruto screaming at him for abandonment. What he never expected, though, was to see Naruto, instead of either falling asleep or bitching to someone about late senseis, the blonde was there seated at the table reading a book, and Jiraiya could see 3 other books on top of the table as well. I don't know if I should be relieved that he won't scream at me or worried of seeing Uzumaki Naruto, the most hyperactive ninja of Konoha and Jinchuriki of the Kyuubi no Yoko, expending pretty much half a day at the library, thought Jiraiya as he took the paper and turned to read it. First year, 6 months of taijutsu and chakra control exercises, extended periods of running on top of water, and maybe even doing occasional spars to increase the pace. Mastery of 2 ninjutsus learned before leaving, which are the following: Shuriken Kage Bunshin no Jutsu and Gyoraishin no Jutsu, and the rest of the year will be spent on Genjutsu understanding plus how to disrupt the illusion. Second year, 3 first months, Rasengan training in order to be able to create it single-handedly, without the clone's assistance, and 9 months of Fuyutin chakra manifestation training. In case I manage to do it in lesser time, we can focus on learning 1 or 2 Fuyutin techniques and spar on top of the water, using both taijutsu and ninjutsu. Objective: fighting experience and mastery of jutsus in the heat of battle. Third year, mainly Fuyutan ninjutsu training with Jiraiya and a ninja from Suna, followed by full-out spar involving nin, tai and genjutsu 3 times a week, until the last 2 months which will be used for eventual exercises that I couldn't master in time. Jiraiya couldn't help but smile upon reading it. There were some points missing, however he was still due to tell Naruto that on time, he would be set up against other opponents in order to have some battle experience. Still, the schedule layout worked fine and Jiraiya found that the time given for all of them was spot on. Naruto for his part finished his book and looked at the pervert displaying a large smile on his face. I suppose that since you're smiling is because you approved my schedule, asked Naruto, before earning a nod from his now sensei. Indeed. I first thought you'd put 3 whole years of ninjutsu, but then I guess you are now a changed shinobi. The schedule is great and we can begin right away. Since the sun is still up, we'll use it to test your skills so far. We'll find a clearance for us to have a spar so I can gauge what you need correcting. Let's go, said Jiraiya, to which Naruto nodded, before getting off the chair and following the pervert. It was only when they left the library that Naruto remembered something. What took you so long, Ero-sensei? Asked Naruto, earning a sigh in dismay from the change in names. Well, at least he placed the word sensei in it. I went to find a friend of mine who contacted me for some information, stated Jiraiya. A few miles away from the village. Once out of the village, Jiraiya and Naruto found a clearing before they sealed their belongings inside a scroll by Jiraiya. After all, it wouldn't do well for them to leave it next to a tree and have it stolen in the midst of a fight. Alright Naruto, come at me with everything you got, but mind you I'm not just standing here waiting for the attack, so be prepared, said Jiraiya, before already beginning a set of hand seals before whispering Suten Suryuden no Jutsu, water release, water dragon jutsu. Instantly, from a lagoon nearby, the dragon suddenly emerged and attacked Naruto, who was frightened to death upon hearing the dragon roaring. The blonde realized, though, that he had to face the danger and used some chakra to jump at the last minute, thus evading the technique. He charged Jiraiya once again, adding chakra to his feet for an upgrade in speed, before reaching and aiming the man's chest. Jiraiya used his hand to block Naruto's kick and used the other arm to punch the blonde's ribs, but barely missed, since Naruto bended his body a little bit. After falling, Naruto did some backflips and jumped a little higher, before taking some shurikens and throwing at Jiraiya before making hand seals for Shuriken Kage Bunshin no Jutsu, Shuriken Shadow Clone. Jiraiya was impressed upon seeing the 4 shurikens become 40 and made some hand seals of his own. Doten Doryu Heiki, Earth Release, Mud Wall Jutsu. Still in the air, Naruto saw the wall being formed and saw all the shurikens being blocked, before cursing at the man's elemental jutsus. Charging once again, Naruto went up the earth wall, using chakra since he couldn't see where Jiraiya was. Inside the protection, Jiraiya smiled at the blonde's insight. The earth wall technique had a weakness of blocking the user's sight, thus Jiraiya couldn't see the blonde, but he heard the sound of steps so he just connected the dots. Looking up, he saw as Naruto jumped the wall and made some hand seals before chakra spikes appeared around him. With Naruto's shift of seals, the needles charged forward and pierced Jiraiya like a pin cushion. Naruto actually believed he accidentally killed the pervert when he saw said man to his right, aiming a kick at his side stomach, thus sending the blonde flying. Using the momentum, Naruto made a spin and landed safely on the ground, before he eyed Jiraiya for a while. The pervert for his part jumped and landed right in front of Naruto while looking at him. Very good Naruto, your ninjutsu was surely flawless. Although in the midst of battle, you need to increase the speed in which you make the hand seals, however that will come with experience. Your taijutsu, although good, needs some correction in terms of defensive katas. At some point there, you left your guard open and that is unacceptable. Overall, though, you did pretty good, said Jiraiya, earning a thanks in appreciation from the blonde. After a while, the two were already marching towards the next village in order to get some sleep. On the way, though, Naruto was picturing his fight and smiled. Of course, Jiraiya was fighting with at least 5% of his abilities, but that was considered high genin level, so if Naruto was on pair with the Sannin using 5%, then perhaps Jiraiya was right about him being low chunin level. Still Naruto couldn't help but remember the pervert using both Suten and Doten and wondered about each ninja's affinity. Ero-sensei, how come you were able to use more than one element? I thought each ninja had one affinity, asked Naruto, earning a smile from Jiraiya. It's true that the majority of ninja has only one affinity. However, there are exceptions out there that have two. However, that does not mean you couldn't learn jutsus from other elements. The tricky part is that would be more difficult and more chakra demanding than the element you're aligned with. For example, I have a Doton affinity, but I also can use Suton, Kaiten and a couple Fuyuton techniques, explained Jiraiya, earning a nod in surprise from Naruto. However, since your schedule is done, we'll focus on Taijutsu and Genjutsu this year, plus some occasional spars with either myself or others. As Jiraiya talked, Naruto looked at him explaining and felt something different from the pervert. It certainly was different from the Jiraiya he traveled to find Tsunade. Speaking the truth, Jiraiya was feeling rather nostalgic about teaching another blonde in the past, and he couldn't help but look at the sky and speak to the clouds to his deceased student. Minato, Naruto truly is your son. Tanzaku guy . After another hour of casual travel, Naruto and Jiraiya arrived at Tanzaku guy, before quickly renting a room for 2 days. On the way, Jiraiya explained that they wouldn't be more than a week in one place even if nobody would be around to see them. The reason behind this was to avoid unwanted attention and alerting Akatsuki of their presence. After all, one of the objectives of this training period is to avoid bumping into one of their members while on a random mission. After that, Jiraiya said for Naruto that he would be meeting another friend, before giving his giddy smile, showing to the blonde that he would be peeping around the place for a while. Sighing in dismay, Naruto said that he would wander around town for a while and maybe have some dinner. Jiraiya wondered for a moment, before shrugging it off and left the hotel as well. Since Naruto left his Hitai 8 inside the room, there wasn't much worry in him walking around for a while. After all, simply waiting inside the room wouldn't please anyone. The sun was just setting and the village nights were beginning to appear. In minutes, the entire village was surrounded by festival lights, since the whole city was one. Millions of merchants would come here with the opportunity of selling their products to the population. As Naruto wandered around, he could see many little stores going from restaurants to shinobi games. However, Naruto was actually looking for a place that sells ninja clothing, however that could wait, after all. His stomach pretty much begged him to have something to eat, so he went to a ramen stand and asked for 3 bowls of miso ramen. While nothing compared to Ichiraku's, this one was rather good, Naruto thought. He appreciated the food and then paid for it, before leaving and searching around town for a while. It wouldn't be possible for this village not to have a shinobi store, however Naruto was wandering for a while and was practically giving up the search and returned to the hotel when he spotted what he was looking for. Once inside, Naruto blinked several times and then blinked once more. The store was huge in every sense of the way. The reason for Naruto's surprise was that it didn't look his big from the outside. Looking around, he saw a bunch of cool stuff like weapons, sealing scrolls, survival kits. Everything a ninja wanted, he could get in here. Eventually, he found the clothes section and quickly began to look at the samples. He was searching for something neutral, although more for the dark side. Obviously, he would get some dark paints and maybe something with a few pockets for him to store. Once the pants were chosen, Naruto went for the shirts. He remembered thinking about buying neutral colors like gray or even a much darker shade of the color. Searching for a while, he found what he was searching for, a dark gray shirt with no drawings or engravings of any kind, being perfect for his idea. Upon selecting other dark colors such as dark green and a brown one, he went to the counter and asked for 3 pairs of the paints he selected and if possible, engraved the shirts with the whirlpool symbol on his back, although now, instead of orange, or red I don't remember, Naruto wanted it all black. The attendant smiled at him and told him to wait while she would go to the back and start with the order. Meanwhile, Naruto decided to take a look at the sword's weapons. He wasn't look forward to studying Kenjutsu anytime soon, but the swords in display were nothing short of amazing. There were some of them who had engravings added to the hilt and Naruto's creative mind was already picturing his engraved with the whirlpool symbol. For some reason, though, Naruto felt attached to that symbol, although it wasn't Konoha's symbol per se. After a while, the woman arrived with Naruto's orders and gave him the price for the whole thing. Grabbing the money he separated, he turned to look at some gloves that happened to possess metallic knuckles. Needless to say, he bought them as well. After appreciating for the service, Naruto left the shop towards the hotel. The next day After doing his routine, Naruto was already outside the village wandering around for Jiraiya, who in turn was still due to show his face. Looking around, Naruto suddenly was feeling a little bit unnerved by so many people staring at him. The stare itself didn't bother him, since he was used to it back at his home village. The problem, now, was that the people who stared at him were composed of only women and girls, and the look of their face was similar to the looks that the damn traitor received back in Konoha. Suddenly it clicked on him. Naruto decided to wear his new clothes today, and while he thought he looked good on the mirror, he clearly didn't expect to attract this sort of attention. Wandering around some more, until he saw the Sannin sitting on the ground, near what seemed to be an abandoned house, and sighed in dismay. Damn, we're only started this trip and the damn pervert already passed out drunk, thought Naruto as he approached Jiraiya for a while. Oh, the ideas he had for a good prank. Naruto's prankster side, oftentimes, took over his will. Summoning close to 10 cage bunchins, all of them gathered air in their lungs before screaming, "Wake up, Sensei!" Jiraiya jumped nearly in instinct, and when he noticed where he was, he could already see the entire village under him, before he fell at the same place he was before. Scratching his head for a while, Jiraiya looked around while feeling his head pounding like crazy. It wasn't enough for him to feel a hangover, now Naruto screaming at his ear would forever plague his mind as the worst headache ever. As he opened his eyes, his vision was somewhat blurry, and he was seeing a blurry vision of a blonde in black paints and grey shirt looking at him. Wow, I must be seeing things. I swear I just saw Minato looking at me with those same angry eyes. Damn you, Naruto, you look so much like your parents, it's kind of scary. Oi, why the hell did you do that for, brat? I was trying to sleep here, shouted Jiraiya, to which Naruto rolled his eyes and looked at the messed state of the man in front of him. You are the one to blame for this, Sensei. You ask for respect and yet you sit in the middle of the street, completely drunk, muttered Naruto, earning a snore in complaint, but Jiraiya stopped the discussion from fear of his head exploding. I really need to stop drinking so much, thought Jiraiya as he walked towards a bakery and asked for some bread and water to ease the headache. After that, he looked at the blonde and now realized that his clothes were different now. Interesting choice in clothes you got there, Naruto. It fits you actually, said Jiraiya, actually meaning that he was glad that he didn't have to force the blonde to lose the orange clothing. Upon looking at the back of the shirt, Jiraiya was surprised to see a black whirlpool symbol attached to the fabric, instead of the usual one that is located behind his orange jacket. Also, now we can train your stealth abilities, since we don't have to worry about you being discovered in the middle of the forest because of your orange clothing. What did you do with it anyway? Asked Jiraiya, to which Naruto answered that he simply threw it away and then turned his back to Jiraiya, not really wanting to deal with Jiraiya in this stage right now. Jiraiya for his part rose from the ground and looked at the blonde in front of him. Sensei, since you'll be recovering in the hotel, can I go train a little bit? Asked Naruto, earning a surprised look from Jiraiya, who in turn wondered why the sudden rush in getting stronger. Naruto, we have 3 years ahead of us to do that. We should consider resting a bit, said Jiraiya, but stopped when Naruto turned his head and looked at Jiraiya with eyes that astonished the Sannin. Jiraiya could see the pure eye of determination, eye of devotion towards an objective, whatever it was. I have to become stronger in order to protect Konoha, and for that, resting will come last, stated Naruto, earning a sigh in dismay from Jiraiya, who was imagining 3 years of constant movement and training regimes. Jiraiya woke from his wonderings when he saw Naruto began walking away from him, before he called for him to halt and wanted to talk to him. Naruto stopped and looked at Jiraiya, who stopped running and landed a hand on his shoulder. Naruto, I know you want to protect the village and those you care for, and believe me when I say you'll become a great shinobi. I'll be recovering a bit at the hotel, but I'll set you up with a couple of stamina exercises mixed with taijutsu practice, that will put you up to test. Extend your arms for me, if you may, said Jiraiya, before Naruto did as instructed. Focusing some chakra on his fingers, Jiraiya began to draw 2 seals, one in each of Naruto's arms, before closing his eyes and focusing on activating it. Ready to go, these seals are called restriction seals, and what they do is make it heavier for you to move at will. For the remaining of the month, you will become adjusted to it as we practice these stamina exercises. Now, a complete lap around Tanzaku Gai takes about half an hour, mostly. So, begin with 5 laps around the village, then practice your taijutsu until I arrive, understood? Explained Jiraiya, before Naruto nodded eagerly to begin, before running towards the village exit. However, he found out how the seal operated and it was tough to say the least. But he went nonetheless and Jiraiya smirked at the sight of Minato's training. Wait, no, this is Naruto, not his father. I got to sleep a little bit, and definitely cannot call him Minato. Oh my friend, your son looks so much like you it's really scary sometimes. Back to Naruto, he was already on his way towards the fist lap around the village while wondering about the effects of the seal located in both his arms. He could already imagine how much these exercises could improve not only his body mass, but also the strength behind his taijutsu attacks. Not only that, but while adjusting to the restriction of the seal, Naruto could also improve his speed. Sensei is a genius. It had been 2 weeks since that day Naruto was introduced to the restriction seals and his physical skills greatly improved. He and Jiraiya was found heading towards river country in hopes of training below a waterfall. Jiraiya instructed Naruto that learning how to meditate can increase the ninja's perception of things both outside and inside his body. For instance, by meditating, Naruto could have more access to his chakra and learn how to ease his chakra flow inside his chakra coils. Back to Naruto's physical skills, he was able to gain some muscles from constantly using them to be able to move. Naruto learned by pure experience how the restriction seal worked. As Naruto walked, the air would reach the seal and it would increase the air force around the blonde's body, thus making it harder to move his limbs. At the time, Naruto compared it like trying to move in the water, which Jiraiya couldn't agree more to. The restriction seal was created by the Yondaime Hokage in response to the gravity seal that was called a kinjutsu because of the damage it did to the human body. This new one acted more directly towards a ninja's training and, unlike the gravity seal, it didn't overstrain the muscles and organs. Some minutes later, the two of them saw the many number of waterfalls that made river country famous. Naruto, there are a lot of inns here in river country so we'll just settle in and proceed with what I intended for you, said Jiraiya earning a nod from Naruto who in turn, extended his hand, before focusing chakra on rotation. The energy began to gather around his hand, but dissipated seconds afterwards. Even if the Rasengan training was only due to happen the next year, Naruto decided to give it a shot while on their travels around the elemental nations. Jiraiya saw it and smiled at the blonde's better attempt this time. Since he began to try the Rasengan single-handedly, Naruto has improved a lot. The first time, he couldn't even begin the energy rotation. Now, that part was already through and now Naruto needed to maintain the rotation steady, before beginning to focus on the power. In time, you'll manage the Rasengan Naruto. Now, we'll settle inside an inn and head straight for the nearest waterfall, said Jiraiya as Naruto nodded before both settled inside for a while. This place would serve as training place for both taijutsu and increasing Naruto's chakra control seeing as they would both practice taijutsu on top of the lake. Sensei, do you have any non-elemental jutsus that you could teach me? Asked Naruto which make Jiraiya think for a while. There is one defensive jutsu I invented but I'm afraid you won't be able to do this one. The technique is called Ninpu Hari Jizu, Ninja Art, Underworld Guardian Spikes, and is a defensive jutsu and consists of focusing chakra through your hair and to sharp its edges before covering your whole body with it. In a taijutsu match, once you do this, if the opponent is stupid enough to hit you, will be stabbed because of the hair spikes. However, I'm able to do this because my hair is long enough, while yours is not, explained Jiraiya earning a nod from Naruto who then proceeded to find a way out of this predicament. If I were to focus more chakra than the technique normally requires then maybe I wouldn't need to grow my hair. What are the hand signals needed for it? Asked Naruto to which Jiraiya smiled and showed him the technique or at least which hand seals were needed. When Naruto attempted his hair immediately became more sharpened but instead of covering the whole body, Naruto's hair only managed to cover his head and his chest before dissipating the technique. Jiraiya was impressed nonetheless. On his first attempt, the blonde already managed to sharpen the hair enough to create needles and with enough practice and more chakra, Naruto would be able to do the technique without having the need to grow his hair. This technique though, had a slight outcome of growing the hair at an accelerated pace. Upon voicing it to Naruto just shrugged it off saying that he would worry about it later on. After a while the two settled inside the inn and then went to the nearest waterfall. Once there both immediately jumped and began battling each other in mid-air, before landing on the water. Practicing taijutsu on the water was good for two reasons. First of all, it would be a great help to increase chakra control because Naruto would have to focus on maintaining the chakra flow below his feet while fighting against Jiraiya, and the second reason is taijutsu experience. After watching each other for a while, Naruto channeled chakra to his legs and charged Jiraiya with a roundhouse kick, to which Jiraiya used his arms to block it and then aimed a straight punch to Naruto's chest. Seeing the move, Naruto flipped his body while in midair and grabbed Jiraiya's arm before pushing it away from the direction of this chest. After landing once again on the water, Naruto charged once more, this time with a series of punches. As Jiraiya was blocking him, he smiled, seeing that not only his speed between movements increased but also the fact that Naruto was landing some heavy blows. In enough time, the pervert wouldn't need to worry about holding back in a straight taijutsu fight, and that was saying something. Jiraiya flipped his body for a reverse kick straight to Naruto's face, but the blonde did a backflip and evaded the attack before aiming for a low kick straight to Jiraiya's legs. Jumping, Jiraiya thought to test the Gaki's evasive techniques by making some hand seals for Kaiten Hausenka no Jutsu, Fire Release, Mythical Fire Phoenix Jutsu. Instantly, Jiraiya expelled consecutive 2 feet fireballs at Naruto, who in turn cursed his sensei for using ninjutsu before focusing chakra in his feet and started running. The fireballs were hitting the water inches from Naruto's position, so the pace would have to be increased. Managing to steadily dodge the incoming fireballs, Naruto had to think of something to turn the odds. Looking at Jiraiya, he managed to see a log that was floating behind him, giving him the perfect tactic to get Jiraiya. Upon seeing the last fireball, he ran straight to it, not bothering to hear Jiraiya's protest of stupidity. The fireball engulfed him completely, until Naruto was suddenly replaced by a log. The pervert was dead silent and wondering what was going on until he turned around only to see Naruto's foot landing a straight kick on his face, thus sending him down. Looking at the blonde, Jiraiya couldn't help but applaud the blonde for the deceiving tactic. Even in the middle of a tight situation, the blonde had managed to calm down and think of a way through it. Congrats, Naruto, although don't ever do such a crazy maneuver like that, unless you're absolutely sure you'll be able to complete it. Remember, I've seen ninjas dying because they attempted something new in the midst of battle. Remember always to use the skills you're most experienced with and you'll have a higher chance of winning the battle. Now, proceed with some taijutsu against your clones and then we'll begin our meditation exercise, explained Jiraiya, earning a nod from Naruto before he summoned 4 clones and began to practice some fighting. This time, Jiraiya was already at the shore of the river, just watching the blonde as he fought with a grace particular to Rachunin against his clones. Since they began the training 2 weeks ago, Naruto trained non-stop to acquire this form of taijutsu. Upon looking at his arms, Jiraiya began to feel the pain of Naruto's punches as his arms were a little numb. That glove of his is really magnificent. Not only does he more damage with his punches, but they are also enabling the user to focus some chakra in it, thus powering up the blows. Imagine when he learns how to use Fuyutin chakra and channel it through his gloves. He could invent a new taijutsu style called Wind Fist or Hurricane Fist. Shippuken, Hurricane Fist, has a nice ring to it. Maybe I can talk to him about it when we begin Fuyutin training, thought Jiraiya. The pervert was having a weird sensation. He remembered being this insightful over someone else's training only when he trained the Yondaime Hokage. At the time, Minato's growth was so astounding that Jiraiya was beginning to think of ways to improve even further. Now, with Naruto it was the same, and Jiraiya couldn't help but connect the similarities between father and son as he saw Naruto battling against the Cage Bunshins. Suddenly, the teacher part resurfaced as he saw Naruto committing a minor flaw. Naruto, keep your arms up and don't let yourself open while attacking, you'd be vulnerable to the enemy otherwise, shouted Jiraiya before hearing a scream in agreement from the blonde and positioned his arms better in order to not let his guard open. Now feeling content with Naruto's form, Jiraiya just stood to watch as Naruto jumped real high and threw one shuriken against the clones before beginning a fast series of hand seals for Ninpu Shuriken Cage Bunshin no Jutsu, Ninja Art, Shuriken Shadow Clone. Immediately, the lonely shuriken was suddenly quadrupled and pierced through all the remaining clones, thus dispelling them all at once before the real one landed on top of the water while holding his head from a sudden headache. This happened every time he battled against clones. Every time when a clone is dispelled, Naruto immediately received images on his mind as if the clone's memory was actually his. He couldn't understand why this thing happens. Jiraiya, for his part, smiled acknowledging the blonde's discovery as he walked casually towards the wondering blonde. It seems you discovered the secret behind the cage bunshin, said Jiraiya as he stopped in front of the blonde, who in turn looked at him startled. What secret? What are you talking about, Ero-sensei? Asked Naruto while massaging his temples a bit in order to ease the pain. After a cage bunshin is dispelled, everything he saw, heard or read is sent straight to the real one. This technique is originally intended to be used for infiltration purposes alone. By sending a cage bunshin inside a castle, for example, the clone could see where the traps and guards are before dispelling and sending the information to the real one. I bet that after you dispelled the clones, you received images from the clone's point of view, am I right? Asked Jiraiya before seeing Naruto nod, and Jiraiya continued. This is a good bonus for you, Naruto. Because of your chakra capacity, we could use the clone's abilities to decrease the time needed for us to train something, like for instance, the Rasengan and the Hari Jizu technique, explained Jiraiya, waiting for the information to sink in before he saw Naruto's smile almost reaching the boy's ears. Deciding to contain the boy's enthusiasm, Jiraiya asked the blonde if he wanted some lunch, to which Naruto eagerly accepted as he was hungry as hell, earning laughter from Jiraiya, and together they turned back to the inn in search for some food. On the way back, Naruto summoned 2 cage bunshins and all 3 of them attempted the second part of the Rasengan. Upon seeing this, Jiraiya smiled upon seeing that the blonde already grasped the meaning behind the cage bunshin training. Inside the restaurant Once back at the inn, the two went to the place's restaurant that happened to be a sushi restaurant. Hearing this, the blonde asked if there was any ramen before being slapped on the head by Jiraiya, who instructed Naruto to eat more healthy food in order to grow stronger and be better prepared to defend the village. Upon hearing this, Naruto couldn't help but nod and decided to try this sushi. As they sat at the table and placed their orders, Jiraiya began asking Naruto about his training so far. Naruto was enthusiastic, that's for sure. He began to speak about how useful the restriction seals were and how it helped him to grow stronger and faster. Ero-sensei, do you have any seals that could provide an aid in battle? I've never seen you using any, and I was wondering if Fuinjutsu could be used in battle, asked Naruto, to which Jiraiya nodded. Fuinjutsu requires a lot of precision and chakra control, and using it in battle is not advisable. For one, any Fuan technique requires some level of concentration, and the enemy won't necessarily wait for you to finish the move. The last shinobi who used sealing techniques in battle was the Yondaime with his Hiraishin. Other than that, those seals are used mostly as exploding tags. However, the team Orochimaru managed to invent something, although it isn't necessarily useful, said Jiraiya, before Naruto asked what it was, to which Jiraiya continued. It's called Kuchio's Reiku Kenka, summoning lightning blade creation, and it consists of 2 seals located on the user's wrists in order to summon any time of projectiles you want to. The seal itself is easy to make. If you want, I can do it for you. Afterwards, in order to activate it, you just have to tap 2 fingers at the seal and focus some chakra to it. The projectile of choice will appear immediately. Do you want this skill, Naruto? Asked Jiraiya, earning a prompt nod from the blonde. With this technique, I wouldn't have to worry about carrying shurikens or kunais, plus I won't have to reach my holster for it, making more space for other survival equipment, said Naruto, earning a nod from Jiraiya, who in turn asked the blonde to extend his arms with his hand palms facing the ceiling. The seal engraving will hurt, so hang in there, said Jiraiya as his fingers suddenly glowed with chakra before he began to inscribe the needed seal on Naruto's wrist. Jiraiya was right when he said the procedure would be painful. Naruto was gritting his teeth in agony while he was feeling the wrist burning while in contact with Jiraiya's glowing finger. After a while, the right hand wrist was done, leaving only the left one. Jiraiya explained that for the procedure to be complete, both wrists had to be done at the same time. Naruto nodded, saying that he was now more accustomed to the pain, to which Jiraiya nodded and proceeded to do the next hand. They're all done, Naruto, we'll place a ribbon around it to help ease the pain and then we can take it off. I, however, advise you not to take the bandage off if surprise is what you're aiming for. We could use a ribbon that covers the entire forearm and no one will see the seal until it's too late. Also, we could initiate from your hand as well, seeing as these gloves of yours hurt a little bit to use. No, said Jiraiya as he took off Naruto's gloves and began the job. In minutes, Jiraiya managed to cover the seal as well as Naruto's hand, before the meal arrived. Naruto could only stare at the food in front of him as he wondered if it is any good compared to ramen. He looked at what appeared to be rice with salmon on top of it and grabbed one. After eating it, he was feeling kind of strange, seeing that the food didn't exactly require much chewing. However, when Naruto swallowed, he actually liked the new food. Looking at his plate, he took the next one and this time dipped with a black sauce that followed the dish. The result was even better and Naruto ate the whole plate the same way he ate ramen. "I'll take it you like sushi, Naruto," said Jiraiya as he smiled at Naruto's face when enjoying a meal. "Liking it is an understatement, Sensei, it's delicious. It's nothing compared to ramen, but at least now I found other food to eat besides the noodles," said Naruto before he called the waiter and asked for more sushi, earning a smile from Jiraiya. In Konoha's hospital. Inside the village's hospital, Tsunade and Shizune were visiting a kunoichi member of the Anbu forces as she was interned from heavy bruises and severe chakra exhaustion. The person was from Anbu, so any data regarding the kunoichi was restricted to Anbu personnel and the Hokage herself. Tsunade was reviewing the treatment on the patient's history board and wasn't pleased at all. This was the second time the woman had to come to the hospital with the same level of bruises and chakra exhaustion, and quite frankly, Tsunade was concerned with her health. She spoke with the Anbu commander and he reported the kind of missions that Anbu member Kat made, and it unnerved the Hokage since she knew it was the very person who was being treated that requested being sent to S-ranked missions, aka certain deaths. Shizune was also concerned for her once colleague at the academy, and she feared that the death of her friend's lover may have caused this desire to do missions non-stop. Unfortunately, there have been cases of solitary ninjas who choose to go to suicide missions in hopes of forgetting their inner pain. She remembered when one Hatake Kakashi did this while in Anbu Black Ops, just after his last friend Rin was assassinated by the enemy. "What are you thinking, Shizune?" asked Tsunade as she flipped the page from the history board. "I don't know, she keeps doing this, Tsunade-sama. I don't know how she is feeling right now, but she can't just keep going to these suicide missions, she will end up killed," stated Shizune, earning a sigh in dismay from Tsunade, who was thinking between these lines as well. "I know, Shizune, but I can't do anything to stop her from doing so. According to the Anbu commander, she is the one requesting to do these so-called suicide missions. I can't simply overrule her will on this. I wish I could, but I can't. We can only hope that she manages to overcome whatever it is she's feeling right now and stop this nonsense. I'm sure someone already tried to talk to her, but she didn't listen. Come on, Shizune, we'll leave her rest for the time being. This mission took a lot out of her and I'm afraid she'll be here for quite a while to recover," said Tsunade, to which Shizune nodded and followed the blonde Hokage out of the room, thus leaving the purple-haired Anbu alone to rest. With Naruto. After lunch, Naruto and Jiraiya returned to the waterfall, but this time not to train taijutsu. This time, Jiraiya would be introducing the so-called meditation technique he spoke a while ago. "Naruto, we'll do that exercise I talked about earlier, and for that I'll call some company," said Jiraiya as he bit his thumb and proceeded with the hand seals needed for the kuchios. Suddenly, two toads appeared with the exact same appearance. The only difference was that one was the size of a horse and the other the size of a pony. "Naruto, meet Gamini and his son Gaminikibi. They will aid us with this exercise," said Jiraiya before the two toads jumped on the water and swam towards the waterfall. Turning to Naruto, Jiraiya turned to explain the exercise. "This exercise consists of controlling the flow of chakra inside your inner coils. By focusing on a single hand seal, you'll close your eyes and imagine yourself controlling the chakra through the chakra pathways. By doing this, you'll learn to be more controlled in tough situations and manage to think clearly despite being interrupted by the enemy. Now strip to your boxes and let's join them under the waterfall," explained Jiraiya, to which Naruto nodded and took off his clothes before jumping on the water and waited for the little toad to swim under him and lift him a little bit. In minutes, they began to receive the brutal punishment of gravity as the 60-foot waterfall came crushing on their shoulders. Jiraiya immediately made the simple's hand seal and began to control his chakra inside him, thus ignoring all sense of pain from the water falling on his shoulders. The toads were as well not bothered by the water. However, Naruto was finding it difficult to concentrate while receiving tons and tons of water on his shoulders. Seeing this, Jiraiya instructed Naruto as to the key of getting this exercise, that was to focus 100% on the chakra traveling inside him and worry not about pain on the outside. Closing his eyes once more, Naruto made the hand seal and tried to focus on his inner chakra. It took a while, but then he managed to let loose of the pain from the water and straightened his posture. This exercise served as means to get to know your chakra better in means of knowing just how much is needed for everything. Also, as Naruto learned how to do it, all of his senses of the outside world simply vanished, thus entering in a sort of trance. The toads looked at him and were surprised to see the blonde already being able to meditate before returning to their trance as well. Back to Naruto, he reached a state of self-awareness so great, that his mind began to race through all the events of his life so far. Naruto often wondered what he could have done differently, so he was imagining all these situations and placed different scenarios, like he using the techniques he knew now against Haku and Zabuza, or even against Neji at the Chunin exams, also the fight against the Kaguya and also the one against Sasuke at the Valley of the End. Naruto was doing just like the pervert instructed. His chakra was traveling through his body. However, when his chakra reached Kyuubi's cage, it woke the fox, who in turn opened his eyes to see that in front of him, Naruto's chakra was filling the entire room. Very interesting, the brat is focusing on manipulating his chakra inside his body, and he happened to focus as much of it here near my cage. Nevertheless, I can see that his chakra capacity increased ever since he left with the pervert to train. I guess now the imbecile will learn to fight and not embarrass me again, said Kyuubi as he closed his eyes once more and returned to sleep. A couple of hours passed and Naruto was still feeling his chakra when, suddenly, Jiraiya landed a hand on his shoulders, making Naruto open his eyes. When he opened them, he realized that the sun was just about to settle down, and then he looked to a smiling Jiraiya. You managed to complete the exercise, Naruto. Why don't we head back to the inn and get some sleep? Tomorrow, we'll begin your Rasengan training, and I kind of hope that you can complete it by tomorrow, despite it not being your goal for this year, said Jiraiya, earning a nod from Naruto, before they went to the shore and grabbed their clothes. On the way to the inn, Naruto and Jiraiya discussed about Naruto's attempt on meditation. Sensei, I wanted to talk to you about the fox, asked Naruto, earning a look in surprise from Jiraiya because of the subject. When my chakra reached the fox's cage, the usual tension inside that place was suddenly diminished greatly. Do you know why? Asked Naruto, to which Jiraiya turned to think for a while. Naruto, the seal placed on the Kyuubi's cage acts according to your chakra. It's possible that since you overflowed the room with chakra, that the seal acted strongly against the fox, thus controlling its urges. If this is true, then your chakra capacity must have increased the last couple days. While we're here, you'll be doing this exercise more times. Today you managed to reach the state of trance, thus being able to look inside your own body, but meditation has also the purpose of self-awareness, and that's where I want you to be at the end of our stay here in River Country. Okay, explained Jiraiya, to which Naruto nodded. A couple hours later, both were at their room snoring like crazy from chakra overusage. Next day. The next day, Jiraiya and Naruto stood at a clearing in order to complete the one-handed Rasengan. Naruto, the first phase of the Rasengan you already know how to do, let's attain to the second, okay? After it, we'll move to third and final phase. Summon close to 20 cage bunshin and begin training. Keep this pace, and if you manage to go to the next one, do it. While you're doing this, I'll visit one of my sources around these parts, said Jiraiya, to which Naruto nodded, before seeing the pervert leave the premises. Turning once more to the empty clearing, Naruto made the necessary hand seal for the cage bunshin and used the equivalent chakra to summon his clones. However, instead of 20, Naruto chose to summon 40 clones, in order to attempt the Hari Jizu technique, while the others and the real one would attempt the Rasengan completion. The Hari Jizu wasn't that hard to master, since Naruto on the first try had pretty much covered the basics. The problem now would be to figure out how much chakra would be needed to cover the entire body with the technique. With Jiraiya . After leaving the brat alone to his training, Jiraiya traveled a couple miles before reaching a house in the middle of nowhere. Clearly a simple two-story house in the middle of the forest would be considered like that. When Jiraiya knocked on the door, he heard what seemed to be a couple yelling to each other before a man opened the door and shouted angrily at whoever it was in order to vent out the frustration of marrying a bitch. Upon seeing the target of the man's frustrations, he realized the huge mistake he made and immediately apologized Jiraiya for the mishap. My excuses, Jiraiya-sama, I didn't see it was you at the door. It's just that Sasam is behaving like a bitch these days and it is being tough to get some rest around here, said the man known as Kurama before seeing Jiraiya wave the man off as in dismissing the issue. No problems there, Kurama-san. Now I was wondering if you could give me information regarding this man, said Jiraiya as he gave Kurama a picture of a C-ranked Konoha missing nin called Azato. Kurama, after seeing the picture, recognized the man instantly and informed Jiraiya that he asked for shelter to the river country daimyo and the man gave him a house to stay not far from their location. Jiraiya appreciated the information and asked if Kurama could draw a map for him. Sure. I'll draw you a map, no problem. I'd ask, though, why are you after a C-ranked missing nin? Surely he wouldn't be of concern to a sanin such as yourself, asked Kurama, though Jiraiya smiled and simply said that he would like to have a small conversation with the man and be on his way. I'm not of a hunter, Kurama, so I'll just leave the job for them. I'll just talk to him, in order to acquire some info, that's all. Thanks for the map, by the way, said Jiraiya, to which Kurama nodded and then returned to the house where his wife started screaming for him to get a job instead of sleeping all the time. By this time, however, Jiraiya was far away from the house as possible. He needed to check if the information was accurate before he came with Naruto to battle this guy. Little did the blonde know that Jiraiya wanted to test the boy's fighting skills against a number of opponents, so he acquired the latest copy of Konoha's bingo book and selected a few enemies he knew Naruto would be able to beat. At first, he wondered if the hunter nins would be angered with him for taking away their subsistence, but he dismissed it, seeing that the book was thick enough to provide a good number of hunts for everybody. Upon arriving at the place indicated on the map, Jiraiya smiled upon finding the house and even the man he was looking for, returning from a forest nearby with wood on his arms for a fire, it seemed. Smiling once again, Jiraiya turned and returned to where Naruto was training in order to see how the blonde was faring with the Rasengan. With Naruto . After 2 hours of training, the clones dealing with the Hari Jizu technique were already dispelled since the technique was already mastered by Naruto. So now, the blonde was left with the Rasengan to master. The second phase of the technique went down fast as Naruto with his clones needed close to 30 minutes to be able to do one-handedly. The third part though proved to be difficult as now, both Naruto and the clones needed to use the first and second phase altogether. Also, since Naruto was unable to do the technique, he was hard-pressed not to simply use a clone to aid him and the technique would be completed. However, he needed to concentrate and finish the technique today. His hands, though, were already trembling from practicing for so long, so he stopped for a while and let the clones continue, since they didn't feel pain. The clones protested a little but returned to doing the Rasengan single-handedly. Minutes passed and the technique was slowly being formed only to dissipate seconds later. It was unnerving to say the least. Getting annoyed, Naruto dispelled the clones and immediately felt the rush of information inside his head. The technique was almost complete, so Naruto wouldn't need a bunch of clones to cut the time. Resting for a while, Naruto decided to rest a little bit from slight chakra usage and loss of stamina. This was the scene that Jiraiya came. The pervert was surprised to see Naruto resting a bit because of his excess chakra capacity, but he chose not to press it. After all, getting the blonde to calm down for a while was like a gift for the old sensei. Hello there, Naruto, how's the training going? Asked Jiraiya, earning Naruto's attention. I managed the second phase alright, but the third is a whole different thing, said Naruto, though Jiraiya was certain the blonde wasn't telling the whole truth. Jiraiya wasn't one of Sannin for nothing and he asked why Naruto didn't manage to finish the Rasengan, even though Jiraiya knew Naruto used more than 20 clones to master the Rasengan. Tell me, Naruto, have you been working on something else beside the Rasengan? Asked Jiraiya, seeing Naruto playing the innocent, before he made hand seals and said Ninpu Hari Jizu, ninja art, underworld guardian spikes jutsu. Jiraiya was astonished to see Naruto's hair growing, enveloping his body completely. He knew the blonde would work on more than one area at the same time because of the clone's assistance, but he never figured that Naruto would be able to master the Hari Jizu technique. Well, it seems you managed this technique already, so I'll teach you another using the hair, but on a later date. Now show me your Rasengan so far, said Jiraiya, to which Naruto nodded and extended his arm. After focusing the necessary chakra, the ball began its formation before being completed for 2 seconds. Naruto cursed once more his inability to do the damn technique, but Jiraiya was too much lost in wonder to hear him complain. The technique execution was flawless and all it needed was to maintain the technique's rotation and strength instead of stopping after getting the ball done. Is it possible that this brat managed to truly learn the Rasengan in less than 6 months? Thought Jiraiya as he heard Naruto continued the complaint. Naruto, stop complaining and try maintaining the rotation and force of the technique instead of releasing once making it, instructed Jiraiya, to which Naruto cursed once more and attempted one more time. This time though, he did as instructed by Jiraiya only to see the technique completed right in front of his eyes. Both he and Jiraiya marveled to see the energy being contained within a small sphere. Congratulations Naruto, you managed the Rasengan single-handedly. Now it's time to learn how to expand the ball's size, to at least double of your current one. However, I believe we covered enough ground for today. So let's wait for tomorrow for more training. Now, remember when I said you would get to face different opponents? Asked Jiraiya, to which Naruto nodded, before receiving the picture of the missing nin. Naruto, this is serious right now. I understand you're getting stronger and you have a good battle experience for a chunin. However, you still need to feel the pressure of fighting someone who could kill you if you're not careful enough. I know you sensed Momokizabu's killing intent and I agree was quite threatening, however you didn't sense the full killing intent cause it wasn't directed towards you, but at Kakashi instead, explained Jiraiya, earning a nod from Naruto, who understood what the pervert wanted to say. A ninja is required to kill, and as such, he's also subjected to being killed by the one he was supposed to eliminate. Killing someone was a strange concept to Naruto, even though he remembered being seconds away from killing Haku at Wave Country if he wasn't able to control his urges. So you're suggesting that I kill this missing nin? Said Naruto, to which Jiraiya nodded with a serious expression. I wouldn't do this normally Naruto, however your first kill is going to be tough on you, believe me. Ask any ninja in Konoha that has killed already and they will tell you how hard it was to overcome this phase. Nevertheless, while it's dangerous, it's necessary to overcome this for the future, said Jiraiya, to which Naruto let out a sigh in dismay before agreeing with the idea. So what do you know about this man's abilities? Asked Naruto, to which Jiraiya smiled and showed the man's page from the bingo book. The man called Azato is considered a C-ranked missing nin with skills equivalent to a chunin. He is a mid-level fighter with knowledge of Kaiten ninjutsu and proficiency in taijutsu. His Kaiten ninjutsu was limited though, to a couple techniques, so according to the book, it wouldn't be life-threatening. He is located a few miles away from here, so we'll go there right now and face him. Are you ready? Asked Jiraiya, earning a nod from Naruto. I can't say I know what will be like once the battle starts, but I'm ready as I'll ever be. After all, it's either kill or be killed, right? Said Naruto, receiving a nod of confirmation from Jiraiya, who smiled and then asked Naruto to follow him. On the way, Naruto asked Jiraiya if he was supposed to fight more of these missing nins for his training before seeing Jiraiya nod in the negative. This will be the only one. The next ones will be people from other villages, since you'll have to face different enemies with different abilities in order to improve your abilities as shinobi. With enough battle experience, you'll be able to choose exactly what techniques to use and when to use them. Now, let's hurry before our guy disappears on us, said Jiraiya, to which Naruto nodded and followed the pervert towards the place where Naruto would have his fight. Near the missing nin's location. Hiding behind a tree, not at all bothering to hide their presences, since according to Jiraiya, they were testing the man's awareness of enemies. Naruto saw his target and frowned a bit. The man didn't look much, probably 20 years old, but his presence wasn't as strong as those he faced before, probably low chunin level, Naruto wondered. Jiraiya turned to him and observed Naruto for a while before smiling once again. The boy was learning faster than he thought. Naruto was analyzing the man, hoping to learn as much as possible from Azato. Naruto, I'll leave you against him. It will be you who will defeat him. I'll be close by in case you are in need of help, okay? Asked Jiraiya before seeing Naruto nodding at him. Okay, I'm ready to do this, said Naruto as he began to approach the enemy while suppressing his chakra. Naruto wasn't stupid to hope that he would be able to sneak behind the enemy and simply slit his throat with a kunai, however he hoped, at least, to cover as much ground as possible in order to have the upper hand in battle. After a while, when Naruto entered the open field, he took out a kunai from his holster and only waited for an attack from Azato, which soon came as the man flipped his body fast and threw a couple of shurikens towards Naruto. Using the kunai, Naruto managed to block them all and jump in order to be in front of Azato, before addressing the man. Azato, from your crimes against Konoha, and as a shinobi from the village, I'll be the one to kill you. Prepare yourself, said Naruto before taking his stance of fighting. Azato, for his part, began to snicker in total underestimation at the blonde's abilities. Get serious, kid. What are you, a genin? I thought Konoha would send hunter nins against me, not a little genin. I guess they underestimate me, stated Azato, earning a snarl from Naruto, who didn't like being underestimated like that. Underestimating the enemy isn't a nice thing to do. You could be caught by surprise, but I'm afraid that is only one way of knowing this, doesn't it? Asked Naruto, earning a nod from Azato, who at least would like the warm-up of beating a genin. From out of nowhere, Azato charged against Naruto with a powerful punch, but Naruto managed to evade and twisted his body and landed a straight reverse kick on Azato's chest. The man was taken aback by the sudden increase of speed and even passed his hand on the wounded area, surprised that it was hurting like hell. Looking at the blonde, the man snarled in anger. How dare this boy, Azato thought. He decided to not hold back anymore. Molding some chakra, Azato began some hand seals before whispering Kaiten Gukaku no Jutsu, fire release, great fireball jutsu. Suddenly, the fireball erupted from Azato's mouth and charged towards Naruto. The blonde, for his part, smirked at the insignificant size of the fireball. Both Sasuke's and Jiraiya's fireball were at least 3 and 4 times bigger respectively, and he managed to dodge it. Charging some chakra on his feet, Naruto used it to dash to the right and charged against the man with a straight chakra-powered punch to the man's jaw, before hitting straight on. Because of the power behind the punch, Azato was sent flying. Naruto, however, didn't stop his attack as he made hand seals for Gyoraishin no Jutsu, Torpedo Needles Jutsu. Instantly, Chakra Needle began its formation around Naruto's body, until he shot them straight at Azato, who was still in midair. The needles hit the target and immediately, Azato's body was pierced multiple times. Instantly, blood splattered everywhere and the man fell down on his knees, since some of those needles happened to pierce the leg's muscles. Azato looked at the blonde now with blood in his eyes. This technique was strange, he thought. Azato wasn't familiar with the concept of chakra manipulation, since he was still chunin when he left Konoha. However, he knew a normal genin would know how to use chakra like the blonde used. Looking at the blonde one more time, Azato found that he was now feeling fear. He knew someone would come eventually and that he would have to face whoever it was, but he was in no way prepared to die. As the blonde approached him, Azato could see the boy's eyes as not familiarized to the world of killing. His pure cerulean eyes did well to show Azato of Naruto's innocence regarding the true way of the ninja. Naruto, for his part, wondered what he would do right now. Clearly, the man was incapacitated since his needles managed to pierce his leg's muscles, so his movements were nullified. However, the thought of simply grabbing his kunai and cutting the man's jugular sickened the blonde to no end. The blonde wondered if by killing others, he would be compared to the one living inside of him. If I can't do this, what will happen if I'm unable to deal properly with those who pose a threat to Konoha? Thought Naruto as he picked his kunai once more. Without thinking, Naruto did pretend that he was pulling off a band-aid. He positioned the kunai on the guy's neck and without wondering any more about what may happen from now on, Naruto did killed for the first time. He just killed a man who was already beaten. Instantly, Naruto's eyes were lifeless as he looked at Azato's dead body while knowing it was him who killed the man. Jiraiya was already there by his side and wondered what the blonde must be thinking right now. The fight was quite one-sided, and if Naruto used the Rasengan, the fight would be over before it started. However, the whole point of fighting missing nins was learning the harsh reality of killing like a ninja, and Naruto would just have to face this issue and surpass it with time. That will be it for this video. If you want more, comment down below, like, subscribe. And see you guys later.